Even at Joe and Marsha's house, we're still adding magical moments. Welcome to my magical little corner of the internet. If you don't know me, my name is Tiffany, the creator behind Faewood Hallows. And today we're going to be doing something very special, something that has been a whole year in the making. So grab your beverage of choice. I have hot coffee here, and settle in and let's begin. Now, I did want to note that around here, we don't do things polished. We drink our coffee out of Disney cups. We have lots and lots of cardboard in the background that will one day become craft projects. And we just like to live in the moment. And it took me a very long time to get to that point where I could just live in the moment and let everything else fall by the wayside and just enjoy the magical little moments that we have in this life. Because let's be honest, life is fleeting. It ends at some point. So you have to learn to enjoy the tiny little moments that make life magical. At the beginning of 2025, I decided to make a magical moments jar. And the idea was that every time something happened that I thought was magical, every time something happened that I found joy in, I was going to write it down and I was going to put it in my magical moments jar. And then at the beginning of 2026, we were going to open this jar and relive all of the magical moments that happened in 2025. Now, when I made this jar, I imagined that at the end of 2025, at the beginning of 2026, that this jar was going to be so full of magical moments that it was just going to be so hard to close, and that it was just going to take hours and hours to go through all of the magical moments. And as you can see, the jar is not very full at all. But what this represents and what I want you to take away with this is that even though life can be hard, because 2025 for my husband and I, my husband's name is Dave, 2025 was a very hard year for us. But what this shows me and what I want you to take away from this is that even though things can be hard, and even though you may be thinking to yourself that I just can't go on another minute, there are still things to be thankful for. Even when life gets hard, because let's face it, life is tough. Life is not an easy thing to go through for anyone. Everyone has struggles. But there's always something to be thankful for. Even in all of the chaos, even in all of the misery, even in all of the grief, even in all of the hard things that people go through in life, there is always something to find to be thankful for. This is something that I am going to bring into 2026, and it's something that I would like to continue and have a tradition that I do this every year. But for now, let's go through my magical moments of 2025. Now, I do want to find somewhere to keep all of these, because I do want to keep these as a reminder to look back on. I might put them all in an envelope, maybe do something crafty with an envelope, and then put them in my journal. So I'm just going to dump them out in my lap. And then at the end of this, I'm going to take this sticker off that says Magical Moments of 2025 and do a new one for 2026. We're going to open the first one. This is actually a funny one. So this one says, Dave finally found a job at a great company called... Now I might bleep out the name of that company because I don't want to bring any bad anything to anyone or their company. But this just goes to show you that even hard things, even things that turn out not to be for you, maybe that wasn't right for you, it was still magical to you in the moment. It was still an opportunity. It was a good opportunity. And it also goes to show you that a lot of times in life, things are out of your control, because sometimes you do have to rely on other people. And let's be honest, sometimes other people let you down. Not everything is in your power to make good or turn into something great. Sometimes things are out of your control. And this was one of those things. We were so happy that Dave found this job, and it was a new opportunity, and we were going to make the best of this opportunity that we could. And it turned out not to be that great of an opportunity. So, but I still want to represent that this was a magical moment to us in the moment. The next one, this was January the 5th. And I put this crazy little smiley face at the top. Just finished cleaning the whole house from top to bottom. Real estate pictures happen on Tuesday, January the 7th. It's so beautiful when it's clean. It smells so good and just makes me feel so good. So I'm sure that there's probably more of these kinds of magical moments in these little pieces of paper, but we decided at the very end of 2024 to put our house up for sale and to find another house. That decision went into, of course, 2025. We listed our house in January of 2025. We ended up selling it in February, and then we ended up moving to this house that I'm filming in now in March. And it all happened very, very quickly. It all happened at the very beginning of 2025. So I'm sure a lot of these magical moments have to do with us selling our house. But yes, that was a magical moment to me, having the house clean and pretty and ready for real estate pictures to happen. We have seen so many species of butterflies around the house. And I'm sure there's also lots of these types of magical moments in these papers as well, because this house that we found in this small little town of Florida has been something that we have held very dear to our hearts. It's a magical moment in itself that we found this house, but it's a very special house to us, and there's lots of very special things about this house that we both, my husband and I, think are very magical. We bought another house. Well, not yet, but we are in the process. And I wrote down the address, which I'm not going to tell you. Ready for that slow living. We close on March 5th, 2025. Very, very magical moment indeed. I feel blessed to live where we live and to be able to make this house a home one day at a time. And this is kind of what I'm talking about this jar, is it doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter if someone else may find it insignificant. If it was magical to you and if it brings you joy, you should write it down and put it in your magical moments jar. January 22nd, 2025. Officially went under contract on the house that we sold. It just got real. We're closing on February the 19th. That was a magical moment as well. We were leaving one chapter, closing one chapter, if you will, and beginning another. May the 12th, we saw another birthday for Connor. And I saw a red fox today at our new home. Connor is one of our grandbabies. Always something to be thankful for. The rainbows that the glass blocks in the bathroom cast over everything are magical. We have glass block in our master bathroom. I'll try to throw up some pictures if I can find them, but I do think it's very magical that when the sun is going down and the sun just at the right moments, usually around between 4 and 5, 6, depending on when it's daylight saving time and all that. It casts rainbows all over the bathroom, and they do look very magical. Dave, my husband, saw 48 years on January the 27th of this year. And myself, Tiffany, saw 51 years on March the 15th. Being able to see another birthday is always a magical moment. Taking the leap and buying an iPad to create a world outside of my own. And here we are together in this world of Faewood Hallows. Well, this world is not Faewood Hallows, but we are always creating magical things together, forming the beginnings of a great future for myself and Dave. I look at Faewood Hallows as something that can grow over time, and always finding magic around every corner is always a good thing. Seeing a red fox on our property multiple times already. We do have, I think, a couple of red foxes because we have done our research and know that red foxes mate for life. They share the responsibility, the mom and the dad, of raising their kits, I think they're called, pups, kits. And we've seen them multiple times. We think that they live on the hedges back behind our house between us and our neighbor. We think they're somewhere in between there in a den that they have built. But yes, it's very magical every time we see them. I'll probably count how many times I say magical in this video because I've already said it several times that I know of. January the 16th. I am thankful that Dave went to pick up my prescriptions today and went to Publix so that I wouldn't have to. Starting the day with gratitude. And that goes back to that little saying that I said at the beginning with, there's always something to be thankful for. Even in the mundane, there's always thanks to be given. Finding a job so quickly and close to home to pave the way to a better life. This is one of the reasons, actually, that 2025 was so hard. For several years before 2025, my husband made enough income so that I was able to stay at home. And then in 2025, that ended, and I had to go get a full-time job to help us be more financially secure. So even in doing something that I was not happy about, and even in doing something that was hard, actually, there was something to be thankful for. January the 7th. I fixed myself lunch today, made eggs in a basket. One of the eggs had 2 yolks in it. Spiritually, this means prosperity, abundance, new beginnings, or a combination or a coming period of good luck. Moved into our new house on Tuesday, March the 11th. A wish being granted for a new job for Dave. This is going to be an answered prayer for a new start to a new year. Remember that one that I pulled out that said Dave was going to be starting a new job. Dave has started actually 3 new jobs in 2025. Remember, I told you it was a very hard year for us. And he is going to be starting a new job on Monday, January the 5th. And we are looking at it as a new start, a new beginning, and a year full of new possibilities. So that one was a special one. That after 3 attempts of finding a home and a job, because let's face it, when you start a new job anywhere, no matter what that job is, no matter who it's with, you are putting your, unless you own the company, you are putting your hope, your faith, and everything that you have into the trust of someone else. And sometimes that doesn't work out. But this This one's special. New possibilities. Wednesday, March the 5th, we will be closing on our new house. We are so thankful we are able to stay with Joe and Marcia and spend time with them for the last 3 weeks transition between houses. We are starting our new chapter. Again, always something to be so thankful for. Thankful that we have family close that allowed us to be able to stay with them during the transition of selling one house and buying another. We close on 323 Palmoso Loop on February the 19th, 13 days from now. Can't wait to get this over with. This has been a process. It was a process. We ended up leaving a lot of our belongings behind because the people that bought our house was going to turn it into a short-term rental. We lived in a short-term rental community in Davenport, and yeah, it was a process, and we were very happy to see it come to a close. Being able to enjoy the big, beautiful pool in the backyard has been so nice. Now, our last house had a pool too, just like this house, but the last house, the pool was not teeny tiny, but it was a whole lot smaller than the pool that we have now. So both of us are very thankful that when we get in the pool, we're able to just kind of spread out and float around and enjoy the peace and quiet and serene nature of everything in our backyard. Because in our last house, because we lived in a short-term rental, there was always new neighbors beside both of us on both sides, and there was always noise. It was never quiet or serene. We have seen a red fox behind the house several times, once with a squirrel in its mouth. The cycle of life. I have 2 left. January the 7th. We had real estate pictures taken today. It's really getting real that we are selling this house. Now, I do miss my house. If you didn't know, we also have another YouTube channel where we have documented our lives moving to Florida up until now. My focus is basically on this channel now. We do post on there every once in a while, but not like we used to. But I did document on there everything that we did to remodel our house that we sold. And we did do a lot to that house, and I do miss it because of all the hard work that we put into it, but we are much happier where we are now. Last one. This one is tiny. Seeing as well as hearing all of the birds. We have lots of nature around us, and that's something that we are both very thankful for. We have lots of plans to make some fairy gardens in the backyard, to have some bird houses back there, some squirrel houses, maybe even some bat houses up in the trees. We have lots of palms around us. So, yeah. As you can see, one of the biggest and I guess most magical moment and blessing that we had for 2025 was finding this house. We had a lot of magical moments in 2025, but being able to find this house and move here and start a new chapter was one of the biggest. Like I said at the beginning, even when you're going through hard times, there are still things to be thankful for. So, I hope you enjoyed coming along for all of my magical moments of 2025. Now I am going to rip off this sticker. And of course, it's not going to rip off cleanly. And I'm going to make another one for 2026. And I also wanted to say, this was the first year that I did this concept of magical moments of a whole year, a whole 12 months of magical moments. There were lots of times that I didn't take the time to write something down and put it in my jar, or that I just didn't remember to write them down. There were other grandchildren's birthdays that didn't get into the jar, and that doesn't mean that I don't love them any more or less, but I am going to try to get better in 2026. I am very much looking forward to this new year. Lots of new possibilities and making things a whole lot more magical than they were in 2025. But I'm happy that you came along with me. I'm thankful for all of the magical moments that I did remember to write down. And I am going to try to get much better in 2026 to remember to write down all of those magical moments. We'll come back again next year and do another magical moments of 2026. I hope this year brings everyone out there watching lots of magical moments, and maybe you'll share with me in the comments what your magical moments of 2025 were. I will see you in the next one.